Good day, learners. You're welcome to class. Welcome to Biology with Omotayo. I remain Omotayo Oluwadara, your facilitator. Just as you know, we've been having a couple of sessions before now under the kingdoms of living things. We'll be continuing in same light. However, before we go into what we have for the day, kindly take note of the following observations with regards to previous classes. From our previous class, where we had carefully looked at the introduction to taxonomy, introduction to classification, we went on to look at the binomial nomenclature, naming organisms with the generic and the specific name. We took detailed notes of guiding rules with regards to how to write these binomial names. There were rules that were spelled out. We took note of them and we tried practicalizing it in one of the previous class. From there, we went on to look at classification and evolution, where we had introduction to kingdom of living things and the various systems. We looked at the two systems of classification, which was invented by Carolus Linnaeus, as you may choose to call it. After which we went on to look at a more preferred system of classification, which is a 5-naming system of classification, a 5-kingdom system of classification, which was invented by R.H. Whitaker. And it was said in that very class that the 5 system of classification by R.H. Whitaker is presently the most preferred and the one that is mostly in use. Now, after that class, we began examining the kingdom one after the other based on the 5 system of classification. We examined kingdom Monera, where we discussed the bacteria as an example. We drew the bacteria, and please take notes. There was an observation with regards to that class. When we were to title our diagram, it was titled Diagram of a Bacteria. Please take note. It should have been titled Diagram of a Bacterium. A singular cell, bacterium. When we have clusters, then we use the word bacteria. That was under kingdom Monera. After that, we went on to look at kingdom Protoctista, where we saw that very kingdom being splitted into a couple of subphylums as well. Now, under that very kingdom Monera, majorly we examine the Protophyta, that is the plant-like examples like Euglena, and equally went on to look at examples of the Protozoa, that is the animal-like examples like our Trypanosome, like our Plasmodium, the Amoeba, the Paramecium, okay, and then the Vorticella. Please take note. Not varicella. Varicella is a virus, a pox virus. Under this very protozoa, what we have as an example is Vorticella, V-O-R, Vorticella, and not varicella, okay? We went on to draw the diagram of the Paramecium, and we labeled it as well. So please take notes of this very observation and come along with me even as we journey on with regards to today's class. So from there, we also examined kingdom fungi. We also examined kingdom fungi, and under kingdom fungi, that was where we saw the non-green plants. Remember our Monera, they are unicellular prokaryotics. Our Protista, unicellular eukaryotics. And then our fungi could be unicellular or multicellular. The multicellular exists at a level that is beyond just unicellular. They can be referred to as tissues and so on. A couple of examples we are taking, okay, we mentioned a few like fusarium, rust, bread mold, okay, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, that's the common yeast that is being used. And in fact, that day, that class, we drew the diagram of Rhizopus stolonifera. Rhizopus stolonifera. Also, while titling our diagram, that very class, we did not title it correctly. It should have read diagram of Rhizopus stolonifera. So please take note of these corrections, and we labeled that very diagram. Today, we will be moving on to look at the kingdom Plantae. We will be moving on to look at kingdom Plantae. But before I go on, just a quick reminder. Please endeavor to call in your friends and loved ones to join in learning. I want to believe that you have subscribed to this platform. Yes, please kindly subscribe to the channel and share same with your loved ones, your friends, and your colleague. It will go a long way to help us so that collectively we may grow and appreciate, since knowledge enables appreciation in value, differentiation, and development, such that we will have a universal growth. So please kindly subscribe and encourage others to subscribe. Endeavor to equally like the channel, and then do the needful to always ensure you follow up with the class. You can always drop your questions at the question segment, and it will be responded to in due time. Okay, thank you for that. A quick one. So we return to class now, looking at kingdom Plantae. This is the fourth kingdom to be examined, kingdom Plantae. And under kingdom Plantae, we have three divisions to start with. Remember, while we were looking at the hierarchical system that was initiated or invented by Carl von Linné, we looked at kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. It was observed in that very class that when Plantae is to be classified, whenever Plantae is to be classified, we rather use division in place of phylum. That is the reason why right away I'm saying we will be having three divisions under the kingdom Plantae. I'm not saying three phylum because I'm now dealing with kingdom Plantae. We are having division Thallophyta, division Bryophyta, and then division Tracheophyta. So I'll be starting with the first division, division Thallophyta. So this very division, Thallophyta, is where we have our green algae. Yes, this is the division where you have your algae, and we have examples of organisms such as the pondweed. Okay, the pondweed is a good example. The seaweed is another. Diatom is another good example. And all members of division Thallophyta they are aquatic plants in nature. Some are unicellular, like Chlamydomonas and diatom, while we have some that are multicellular, and then they have structures that may be considered as root, stem, and leaves kind of, but actually they are not true leaves. They are not true roots. Neither are they true stems, but they have such structures. A couple of them are unicellular, just like you can see here, Chlamydomonas and diatom, while others are not. They are at a higher level of organization. For this very class, there is presence of chlorophyll. Just as I wrote earlier, algae, you know, they are usually green. Okay, so green algae, presence of chlorophyll. This simply means that they can photosynthesize. Okay, they can photosynthesize because of the green pigment. Like in the case of our seaweed, it can photosynthesize. Even the red and the brown seaweeds as well can do same. So division Thallophyta, you have primitive plants. Okay, they are non-vascular plants. No true root, no true stem, no true leaf. Although have structures that look like stem, like roots, and then like leaf. From here, we'll move on to the second division, division Bryophyta. And take note, earlier under division Thallophyta, I mentioned that the organisms under division Thallophyta lacks true root, true leaf, true stem. Same for division Bryophyta. Actually, no true roots, no true stem, no true leaves either. However, for division Bryophyta, there is a thread-like structure that may be referred to as something like a root. It is called rhizoid. Remember, under Thallophyta as well, a similar kind of structure is mentioned that is being referred to as thallus. Now, prominent examples under division Bryophyta. The first is moss. Take note, when given questions and checking up your options, you may not find moss. Yes, because another name for moss is Brachymenium. Another example under this division is liverwort. Also, when attempting questions for your options, you may not see liverwort. Another name for liverwort is Marchantia. These are two prominent examples under division Bryophyta. Organisms here don't have defined conducting tissues. They don't have defined conducting tissues, although they are mostly terrestrial and are always seen growing in damp places. They are mostly terrestrial and can be seen growing in damp places. However, for the sake of fertilization, there is always need for moisture. Okay, moisture is required for fertilization. Asexual reproduction is what is always seen by spores. Okay, where we do have alternation of generation. I mention alteration of generation. That's simply because for bryophytes or organism under the division Bryophyta, the sporophytes and the gametophyte parts of the plant grows independently. So at a particular phase, the bryophytes have the sporophytes growing, and at another phase, the gametophytes growing. So we do say there is alteration of generation. However, take note, for bryophytes, the gametophyte is the dominant generation. For division Bryophyta, the gametophyte is the dominant generation. So I'll put down notes. The gametophyte is the dominant generation. So from here, we'll be moving on to look at the next division, which is division Tracheophyta. Come along with me. Division Tracheophyta. Division Tracheophyta. Now, you need to take note that for organisms under this very division Tracheophyta, they are regarded as vascular plants. So, That is to say, the earlier discussed Thallophyta and Bryophyta are non-vascular plants. Now, for division Tracheophyta, we have two subs. We have Pteridophyta and Spermatophyta. Okay, Pteridophyta and the Spermatophyta. Examples of organisms under Pteridophyta are, okay, our ferns generally are grouped under Pteridophyta, and good examples are Felimas and then Dryopteris. While for our Spermatophyta, this basically contains plants that are regarded as seed-bearing plants. So, before going into this, let's do justice to this. For Pteridophytes, they have more complex structure actually than the Bryophyta. They have proper roots, leaves, and then well-developed conducting tissues. So, we have leaves, we have roots, and well-developed conducting tissues. However, they are non-flowering and non-seed producing. Okay, so plants under the subdivision Pteridophyta are non-flowering and non-seed producing. They need moisture for fertilization as well. The moisture is to enable the male gamete to have access to gain mobility to the female portion of the plant. Usually grow in damp places as well, and a lot of tropical ferns do grow as epiphytes. You sometimes see them growing on palm trees and so on. Yes, epiphytes. A lot of tropical ferns grow as epiphytes. What are epiphytes? Epiphytes are non-parasitic plants that grow on trees but do not in any way harm the plants. Okay, they are non-parasitic plants that grows on a tree but are not dependent. They are not dependent. Take note, they are not dependent on the host plants, epiphytes. Now, from here we will move on to Spermatophyta. Earlier I told you Pteridophyta are non-flowering, non-seed producing. That is to say, I can say Pteridophyta are non-flowering, non-seed producing vascular plants. Non-flowering, non-seed producing vascular plants. So my Spermatophyta now, the Spermatophyta, they are flowering and they are seed producing vascular plants. So unlike what we have here. Okay, a quick one. Also, for the Spermatophyta, this is regarded as plants with true roots, true stem, and true leaf. They have well-developed, not just conducting tissues, but vascular tissues. Okay, they have well-developed vascular tissues. They reproduce sexually and do not need water for fertilization. Okay, they reproduce sexually and do not need water for fertilization. Mainly, members of the sub-Spermatophyta are terrestrial. They are mainly terrestrial. And as you can see, we are yet to take examples. Yes, this is simply because the subdivision Spermatophyta can be further divided. Yes, it can be further splitted into Gymnospermae and Angiospermae. Again, the Gymnospermae and Angiospermae. Come with me as we examine this. So, our subdivision Spermatophyta, I said, is further splitted into Gymnospermae and Angiospermae. For the gymnosperms, they are the cone-bearing plants. Yes, cone-bearing plants. These are plants that produce structures which are known as cones. They produce seeds. The seeds are borne in cones but are naked. Okay, seeds produced are naked and are born on cones. They do not produce flowers, okay, and fruit. So members of Gymnospermae do not produce flowers and fruits. Basically, they are trees. They are trees that are woody in nature. Basically, they are trees that are woody. Prominent examples under Gymnosperm, we have the pine, yes, cycads, we have ginkgos, and so on. You have the pine, you have the ginkgos, and then you equally have the cycads. I repeat, the pine, the ginkgos, and cycads. These are prominent examples under Spermatophyta. Now coming to Angiospermae. Angiosperms are non-cone bearing plants. So angiosperms don't produce cones. Yes, this is where we have the most advanced class, the most advanced group of plants. Yes, for subdivision Angiospermae, the seeds are produced in special structures called flowers. Okay, seeds are produced in special structures called flowers, and they are virtually terrestrial plants. They are virtually terrestrial plants, and for members of this group, fertilization do occur and seeds end up becoming enclosed in fruits after fertilization. After fertilization, the seeds are enclosed in fruits. Now, for the Angiospermae, take note, the Sporophytes are the dominant generation. In fact, not just for Angiospermae, for the advanced vascular plants, the Sporophyte is the dominant generation. You can see from where we have our vascular plants, the Sporophyte is regarded as the dominant generation. So for our vascular plants, the Sporophyte is the dominant generation. For our Bryophytes that was earlier examined, the Gametophyte is the dominant generation. Now, you will bear witness that we are not yet there. Why? We are yet to have the monocots and dicots. But this is not anything too difficult. You know that our Angiospermae can be now splitted into monocotyledons and dicotyledons. Monocotyledonous plants are plants with one seed leaf. Dicotyledonous plants are plants having germinating seeds with two seed leaves. Now, for our monocotyledonous plants, have features such as parallel venation, narrowed leaf. There is no secondary growth from the stem. Okay, a singular stem is maintained, no secondary extension of branches. We have what is called hypogynous germination under monocotyledonous plants. Hypogynous germination. And then under monocotyledonous plants, we equally have a fibrous root system. Okay, you have hypogyle, germination, and a fibrous root system. But for dicotyledonous plants, these are plants with leaves that are broad. Yes, there is secondary growth of branches. And here we have what we call epigyle germination. Epigyle germination. And root for most dicotyledonous plants is a tap root. I believe you can mention examples. Yes, for monocots, we have plants like the maize plant. The seed cannot split into two equal halves among several other, like the tiger nuts. Okay, they have leaves looking like grasses. While for our dicots, examples like the beans, the soya beans, the pea, the groundnuts, and so on, where seeds can split into two equal halves. With this, we will be pausing here to meet in the next class. Please take note, endeavor to revisit the content, endeavor to subscribe to this channel, inform colleagues and loved ones, endeavor to like the content as well. This will go a long way to sustain us on this platform. Thank you for coming this far. Take care. See you next class. From the intricate working of the cells to classification of living things, from the mechanism